Good evening. I'm Christopher Sullivan Diaz. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Nebraska's Rudy Sautron has captured NCAA Division I Ping All-Region honors for the second straight season from the Golf Coaches Association of America when the organization announced its annual award winners over the weekend. Nebraska saw its season end with an 11-8 loss to Arizona State in an elimination game on Sunday afternoon at Hawks Field at Haymarket Park. Huskers conclude the 2026 campaign with a 43-17 overall record and the 20th regional appearance in program history. The 43 wins are the most since the Big Red went 57-15 in 2005. The Nebraska track and field team racked up 19 qualifiers for the NCAA championships at the Western Regional Qualifiers over the past 4 days. And finally, a little baseball info for you. The Chicago White Sox are officially 1 win better than the team up north, with 32 wins so far this season. And Georgia Tech was upset earlier by Oklahoma in an 8-7 victory, eliminating the 2 overall seed. Our sports ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, a disciplined process to retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Our One of Sports Nightly is up next right here in the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The payoff pitch ripped into left field, down for a single. Franke's going to be waved home. The throw is in time. Oh, what a seed by Chet Buck. Big-time defensive play for the senior transfer.
2 balls, 2 strikes on DC. Pitch. Swing and a drive to deep left field. Taylor back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. Dylan Carey to the rescue.
Arkansas 3-2, bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Batter is Hannah Core in the first pitch. Core swings and drives this one to center and deep, and it is gone! It's gone! And this game is tied at 3! Infield to the right as well. Heron to the wine, her 1-ball pitch. Ava swings and drives this one to center. Johnson going back! It's gone! It's gone! Huskers win! Huskers win! Huskers win! Huskers win 5-3 on the Kuzak 2-run home run!
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks, on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome in Sports Nightly here tonight in a brand new month of June. Of course, we're going to rehash a lot of what happened over the weekend. I'm Kyle Crooks. Jessica Coody is still in Oklahoma City, doing a lot of great work out there. Of course, the Huskers stay in OKC comes to an end. We'll dive into more of that. We'll have a chance to catch up with the voice of Huskers softball, Nate Rohr. That'll be in hour 2. We'll hear the thoughts after the game from Rhonda Revelle and Jordy Fromm in hour 2 as well. We'll also have the reaction from Will Bolt and some of the players after the Lincoln Regional yesterday. We'll hear from the voice of Husker baseball, Ben McLaughlin. So certainly a lot to do. With that, without further ado, Jessica Coody in Oklahoma City. Jess, how are you?
I'm good. It feels like it's been a lifetime since we chatted last Thursday night.
And which you probably enjoy.
A little bit, okay. But no, I was going to say, since you botched Coach Ravel's favorite singer, Tanya Tucker,
I did.
A lot has unfolded since then, so a lot to dive into, but, lots to be excited about, a lot to be proud of for these 2 programs. And I know it's always hard when it's over, but it's hard to win a national championship. And a lot of things have got to go right. And, I think a lot of things were late, especially on the softball side of things. I know that this is a big senior class that's leaving, and you got a lot of holes to fill, not to mention one of the best players that's ever played the sport in Jordy Fromm. But look, I think a lot was laid in terms of building on the foundation that's been laid by generations of Husker softball players by this incredible senior class to continue to build on. And you got a good core back, and then they're going to be able to have a lot to sell when they go to the transfer portal here next week. And then they have an incredible freshman class coming in that they're really excited about. We'll talk a lot more with Nate Rohr coming up here in hour number 2 about some of that. But, I think a lot was done this year that is really going to help propel this program forward. So, yes, while it hurts that it's over, and that's a lot of what I felt yesterday is they had a great season. There was a lot to be proud of. And, yes, they wanted to win a national title. But I guess for me, where I was more sad, a lot of times when the season's in and you get so attached to these teams because you're embedded with the teams and you cover them, we cover them closer than anybody, and we get to know them. And as all of us that are within each team get to know their families. And so you just kind of become attached. I think for me, when I walked away yesterday, I was more sad that I will never watch that team play than I was that they didn't win, And so, but I think the way that they came together and the way that their kind of perspective of things. Yes, they're sad that they lost and they were disappointed because they wanted to win. But I know that their perspective is that it's bigger than that. And they've been saying that all season long. And they're doing it not just for themselves and for even beyond just their own teammates or playing for their teammates. But so, they're certainly hurt, you could tell. But I think it was less about losing and not winning a national championship and more because they're not going to put that uniform on together again.
Yeah, I think there's still moments when you look back on it. There's only one team that can win a national championship and can have those memories and can be the last team standing. But the reality is this team has done things we haven't seen here in a while, going to a World Series for the first time since 2013 and giving Rhonda, and it kind of felt like she was re-energized with what happened here this year. And Jordy Fromm coming home and lifting up the sport in her home state, what we see from Alexis Jensen. And you mentioned that the future is incredibly bright here at Nebraska, specifically in the sport. And you have the memories of winning a super regional on your home field, hosting a super, then going to the Women's College World Series. And you think to the Arkansas game, I know obviously Nate was fired up in the booth, but those are forever swings. Hannah Core's home run in the 8th inning to tie the game after you go down against Arkansas. And then the Ava Kuzak home run out to center field to walk it off in the bottom of the 10th. That is a forever program moment that you can never take away. Only one team can win a national championship, Jess. But when you think of forever moments, there's a handful that you just don't get the opportunity to have forever moments in seasons, and Nebraska had multiple.
Yeah, and look, and this is a team that's going to come back, and they're going to be celebrated, and Jordy's number is going to be hanging from the side of the press box like the other ones do, and going to be a Hall of Famer really soon. And she's not the only one. There's a lot of them, and this is going to be a celebrated team. And you think about, when we had the discussions with Nate and some folks throughout the season about, is this the best team in Husker softball history? And you had to go back quite a ways to compare them to some of those other Husker teams that maybe would be in that conversation. And then even back to the 80s when they had won, had gone to multiple Women's College World Series, had won the national title, all that stuff with Coach Sipple. And so I think this is going to be a team that will forever be in the conversation of this program and the best to ever do it. But I'm telling you, this team wants next year's team to be better than them. And they feel like they've left it better than they found it, which is always the goal. And I think they have certainly, there's some talent that was on the bench that didn't get to play, but just because of the talent that was already on the field. And they got to, sit and learn and watch, and they played their roles, and they were invested, and they were locked in, even if they didn't get to play, didn't get a single at bat all season. And then the same thing with the freshmen coming in, they got to watch. I mean, we hear that a lot with, some of the teams as they shuffle and they bring in some talented freshmen of getting to just maybe watch. We talked about that a little bit with the football team and how those players got to come in and be a part of the bowl practices and all of that. This is way more of experience throughout an entire season like this and going to the Women's College World Series. So I think this experience, despite whether they were on that field or not, they were a part of it, a huge part of it, and they're going to know what it takes to get there, and then they're going to be able to pass it along. And so I think for this class that's leaving and the players that are leaving, they fully believe that they did their part in helping this program to to not just get there every 10 years or so, 12 years, but to get there more consistently and to be a team that can be in that conversation.
I think not just softball, but baseball, a pair of forever teams. Of course, it ends not in the way that we all wanted it, as the Huskers do win a game. They beat South Dakota State, and Carson Yassa was brilliant. They had some great starts throughout the weekend. Ty Horn was about as good considering the environment and how tense that game was. Ty Horn was tremendous, and just too many mistakes down the stretch, uncharacteristic of this team all year. They came in third nationally in fielding percentage. They just had some issues making the routine plays, and you can't give extra outs to Ole Miss and to Arizona State, who are offenses that will bludgeon you. And we saw the pitching from Ole Miss. They go on to the Super Regional and win the Lincoln Regional, but their pitching was electric. But shout out to Husker Nation, because the crowds were about as good as I've ever seen at a baseball venue. That sixth inning, bases loaded, Huskers trying to rally against Taylor Rabe, one of the top starters in the SEC, and the Huskers really made Ole Miss work for it. Scored 7 unanswered runs against Arizona State, once down 10, down only 3. So continue to fight back until the very last out, which is the identity of this team. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. A lot of baseball, a lot of softball on this show. Coming up, the voice of Husker baseball, Ben McLaughlin. Stick with us.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
In the mood for a wild ride? Then enter the Nebraska Lottery's Pony Payout promotion. Until July 28th, when you enter non-winning Pony Payout scratch tickets online, you could win a 2026 Ford Mustang GT Fastback. Gallop over to a Nebraska Lottery retailer and play today. Ford Mustang is a trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company is not a sponsor of this promotion. Pony Payout top prize odds 1 in 120,000.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store, only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. Kyle Crooks back here on Sports Nightly, joined by a very, very special guest, as we have been the last couple of weeks, been very gracious with his time. That's Ben McLaughlin, voice of Husker baseball, and calling a lot of the games this year with Nick Hanley, wrapping up. What has this been? Was it year 13 for you on the mic with Husker baseball?
Yeah, I think that's right. Year 13. Yeah, they all kind of blend together at this point. But, yeah, lucky number 13.
Yeah, and what a season it was. When I know you'll probably think of all, more moments as we go in the weeks to come, and it's hard to wrap an entire season into just one conversation. I know you guys tried to do it a little bit in the postgame yesterday. Obviously not the way you want to finish the year, but when you go and check different boxes about what this team wanted to accomplish, there is a lot to be proud of when it comes to Husker baseball.
Yeah, the end of the year is always tough because, as you know, we're grinding every day from about Valentine's Day and into June, in this case, the last day of May. And the finality hits you right away from going down on the field and, seeing the guys, a lot of them for the last time. It's a lot. It's really hard. But you're right. I mean, the end of the season sucks, whether it's the end of the regular season, whether it ends in the Big Ten tournament, in a regional, at home, on the road. Everybody but one team is happy at the end. Only one team is cheering at the end, raising a trophy. And so every other team in the country has to go through it too. I'm just unbelievably proud of this group, proud of the coaching staff for going out on a limb and sharing, Coach Bolt specifically, sharing his ambition to bring a regional to Lincoln. And anytime a season doesn't go well, he hears about it. Fans are very vocal about their thoughts with Nebraska baseball. And he set a lofty goal, and that team accomplished that goal this year. And it started in the non-conference. It finished in conference with the most impressive conference season I've ever been a part of. And certainly it finished with a home regional, which was a dream come true. And I hope it's not the last time. I'm banking on it not being the last time, but to earn that privilege that only 15 other teams in the country got is not something that I will gloss over, and I know the coaching staff won't gloss over, and I hope the fans don't either. Kyle, I know it's disappointing not winning that thing. I think we all wanted to and felt like Nebraska could and even would in some cases. But it's tough. It's just really tough to do. You have to play baseball at such a high level this time of year with next to no mistakes. And unfortunately, this team just made a couple too many mistakes that were uncharacteristic this weekend. But I'm not gonna let that take away from just an unbelievably special season with an unbelievably special group of young men.
And, a part of this team being so special is the veteran nature in which it had. And you talked a lot about the seniors yesterday. Dylan and Joshua were on the post-game podium along with Coach Bolt, and they talked glowingly about this program, where it is and where it's going to be. You think about when those guys came on campus and where the program was when they first stepped on campus to where it is now. I mean, Dylan, Joshua, this senior class, even guys that are new to the program in a jet buck, Kevin Manel, who pitched well yesterday. I mean, that's a really good way to end your college career if you're Manel. But what are your thoughts on kind of the vets of this team and the guys who help lead the way?
Yeah, I could go on and on about them. Just because we've spent so much time with those players and their families. The goodbye, honestly, has been in the back of my head for a couple of months. Going through the season and a lot of the highs. After the USC series and the Iowa series, and you kind of just had a feeling like this is a really special team, and they're obviously not doing a lot of that without those seniors, those guys that raise the expectation in the clubhouse day in and day out, on the field and off. And I'm so thankful for what those guys, the leaders, poured into the program. Will Bolt, I don't think, did a single interview with us or anybody else without talking about the leadership he had in the clubhouse and how the best team their player led. And this team was definitely a part of that, and a big reason why, the reason why they were able to reach some of those goals. With DC, I told the story yesterday on the air about remembering the first time I met his parents at a restaurant in Minneapolis. It was right after his first Husker game as a freshman, meeting his parents, Brian and Jen, and Greg was with me. And I made it a point to go find his family. I know I'll probably see them again at some point because they're diehard Huskers, but just wanted to thank them and chat with them one more time. And, Brian, his dad brought up the same thing that I mentioned on the air. And his mom, Jen, is just the best. She's so supportive of her kids and is back in Lincoln or elsewhere, wherever we're playing, every single weekend. Her daughter got to play at Bullen Stadium, which was awesome. Caleb Clark is certainly a large part of that also. Caleb is an absolute warrior for what he had to go through this year with his father, Dave, being sick and, being away, not even a state next door, but you're talking a completely different country while his family is fighting a battle, far, far away where he's not there. And I know that was hard on Caleb, and I know Nebraska did everything they could to support him. And he just continued to pitch like nothing was going on, and that was heroic to me. Jalen Worthley is the easiest kid in the world to talk to, always smiling. Jet Buck, I feel like is a tough one to crack, but I think I was one of the lucky ones that cracked him pretty early on, and we actually ended up with a great relationship. And, we've already texted a bunch since the game ended last night, just thanking each other. I'm so happy that Jet came here and gave Nebraska a shot. He's one that I felt like I covered for years, although it was only 1 year. But you're right, Kyle. I mean, this group is really hard to say goodbye to because, of course, the big moments, the overbeat 3-run double against Indiana, the countless defensive plays that Dylan Carey's made, the all-time doubles record. On the field, yes, but off the field, being on the bus, the planes, the hotel rooms with those guys and their families, it's going to be hard. This is a hard one to say goodbye to, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Ben McLaughlin, voice of Husker Baseball, joining us here on Sports Nightly. Wanted to get your thoughts. It sounded like I went back a couple times, Ben, and listened to the 6th inning against Ole Miss because I just wanted to hear what the crowd sounded like, and being an audio nerd, kind of how it sounded to the listener out there in Radio Land. And it truly sounded like a third down at Memorial Stadium. The wall of noise, and we didn't have that big swing to really break through in that inning, but the Jeske at bat, the Buck at bat, the Overbeek at bat, you could just really sense this crowd is hungry for big moments at Haymarket Park. We had ideas of what it could be when Lincoln would host a regional, and that Ole Miss game specifically before the weather delay. I mean, that 6th inning lived up to just about everything you could possibly imagine to what this crowd and how they could influence a baseball game here in Lincoln.
Yeah, I told my wife after that game that moment that you're talking about was, for me, 14 years in the making. I'd been looking forward to hearing Husker Nation, try to propel this team to a win in a postseason game since I put on the headset to call games. I wrote on my score on my lineup sheets all 3 games this weekend to be present. Because as anybody that's listened to me call a baseball game know, I'm very emotional. Like I get into every pitch, good or bad. And sometimes it's easy to not be where my feet are. And I get so caught up into the game. But, just writing that little message down, it really let me kind of take a step back in the good times and the bad, and just take it in and just look around the crowd and just take in that moment, because that was special, man. That 6th inning, like I'm telling you, it felt like an out of body experience. Like I couldn't believe the calmness of Ole Miss. The pitch calm stuff, but when Rabe had to execute 5 or 6 pitches with that crowd, I mean, you got to do nothing but tip your cap to that young man. I mean, there's no way I could have done it. There's no way a lot of people listening could have gone out there and executed several 3-2 cutters to get out of that inning. And it was piercing. I remember talking to Jeske and Tanner Fowler, a couple of others, Strohmeyer, who was out at second base. Strohmeyer said my helmet con was useless, couldn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
Jeske told me his helmet was shaking in the batter's box because it was so loud. And I had multiple people say the exact same thing, that it felt like a football game, and it really did. It really, really did. And I don't take that for granted, man. These fans are unbelievable. We have high expectations for them in that moment of hosting a regional, wondering how hard are they going to come through. And they should never be doubted, because they always raise the bar and they always pass the bar. But that 6th inning, Kyle, I know it didn't result in anything, but I'll remember that inning for the rest of my life. That's not hyperbole. I definitely will.
The line of the night was during the pitch comm issues. Nick goes, Rabe's having issues hearing. And then Ben goes, well, no, duh. And then the catcher comes out and the boos just get louder and louder. And it was just, man, that is truly, although, like you said, it didn't go the way you wanted, that is a forever moment in that ballpark and everything that kind of led into that. All right, let's talk a little bit 2027, just what you're losing, what needs to be replenished. I mean, Nebraska and Big Ten in general, outside of maybe the UCLAs and the USCs, probably has to go pretty heavy into, JUCO evaluation. And those are the types of players, a Jet Buck from the Division II level. In terms of comparing and contrasting other programs, you're probably not going to grab a star from another Power 4 program. When you look at the evaluation of where the roster needs to be and what you're losing, what are some of the things that stand out, and what Will Bolt has to do here in the months ahead?
Yeah, the first thing you need to do is evaluate your positions of need and figure out, okay, who's going to be drafted, who's not going to come back to Nebraska, because there is always a handful. There are even some that we're not going to expect that are going to leave. It's just part of it. And assuming that everything is kosher with that, and with graduation, they have to find guys everywhere. It has to be a mix of high school talent. It has to be a mix of JUCO. They already have a few committed, as you said. And then they have to go find a handful of transfers. And sometimes it takes one connection, right? Like think about Joshua Overbeek and think about Kevin Manel. And you think about some of these transfers that just have one little tie. Maybe they have an uncle. Maybe they have a relative that is from Lincoln or ran track here or something like that.
Or maybe a brother, Ben, that plays at a service academy that may or may not have just gone into the transfer portal.
Wasn't going to say it, but I agree. When I hugged Bobby Overbeek, Joshua's dad, goodbye, and I said, I hope this isn't a goodbye, and I winked at him, and he smiled. He gave me a smile, as if he was making that decision for Josiah. But yes, I mean, I think Nebraska has to find guys everywhere. I mean, think about just this class, Kyle, and what Nebraska has this class. Joshua Overbeek was a former Power 4 transfer, gone JUCO. Dylan was brought here as a freshman. Ty Horn brought here as a freshman. Jet Buck, a D2 transfer. Kevin Manel, a power transfer from an SEC school. So you could just kind of get the idea that these guys have to come from everywhere. And Will Bolt said it best. You have to get old and you have to stay old. As awesome as it was having Grigo and Jeter contribute as freshmen, those guys are anomalies just because they're tremendous baseball players. you have to assume that, there's going to be some development required. And we saw firsthand this weekend with the rosters of Arizona State and Ole Miss, the caliber of player that you're going to have to make a run in the postseason. I think Nebraska was close this year, but they're losing a lot of that star power that they're going to need to go find here in the next month or so, for sure.
Chatting with Ben McLaughlin, and around the country, BMAC, it's one of those things. When I think of the college baseball postseason this year, I just say, what the heck is going on? You have 2 4 seeds that are going to a super. St. John's beats Florida State today. Little Rock does what it does. UCLA is bounced. It's head scratching to see some of these scores when you continue to look around the country. Milwaukee has an opportunity to get through the Auburn Regional. How do you put into words just what in the heck we are seeing around the country? It is unlike anything in a postseason I've seen before.
It is. I had this conversation with Kyle Peterson from ESPN yesterday before our game, and there's just a hell of a lot of good baseball players out there, and the SEC can't have them all. Like, the rosters are only so big. There are great players that play all over the country. And so I think the skill gap has certainly transformed from just one conference to 2 to 3 to 4, and where now you have good players everywhere. And to those 3 or 4 people that are in my Twitter mentions, every weekend, getting tired of me saying that every team that we play has the best players in the world on it. There are good players that are drafted. There are good players that are going to go from a Milwaukee, go from like a Murray State, from Dom Decker, right? Ole Miss is knocked out of the postseason, and Ole Miss grabs their best player out of the portal. There are good players everywhere, and I think that leads to parity. And then I think the human element in this thing, Kyle, certainly has to be talked about. The pressure is, it's intense and it's immense, and you have to play great baseball to win. You have to do it. And it doesn't matter if you're a 4 seed, a bubble team that gets in as a 3, a team that just missed out on a regional host, or a host. You have to play well to win. And that's why Nebraska started Carson Yassa against South Dakota State. That's why a lot of teams wish they started their ace in their first game. But even your aces, even your best players you can't assume success this time of year. It's what makes this sport beautiful. It's what makes it awesome. It's why I love it so much, just because it's constantly changing. And it's really cool. And I would have loved some Big Ten teams like Nebraska to perform a little bit better. But, I think it truly can be done anywhere with the right group of kids, with the right coach, and with the right amount of talent on the field. And I think we're seeing that play out this year in 2026. I think there's going to be, in fact, I know there will be a couple of teams that nobody expected to either be in a regional, win a regional, or win a super that are going to be in Omaha in June.
Yeah, I mean, teams like Little Rock, Cal Poly never even had to play UCLA to get through the LA regional. Like, it's absurd, but it's fun, and that's what we want. Obviously, not the way we wanted the Huskers season to end, but I could say this: tremendous work, BMAC, from you and Nick all year. I know the fans really, really enjoyed the broadcast, and boy, this was, like you said, this I'm sure was a top year for you. And we know Greg was watching down and listening to all the games, and this was just a fun year in the booth, and I know one that you guys are never going to forget.
Yeah, and you as well, man. I mean, it was so awesome having you with us. Just jumped right in and fit our booth, fit the team, fit with the coaching staff. And, that's exactly how we are with Husker baseball as a family. And that's, you mentioned, Greg, it's part of the reason why yesterday was so emotional for me. Those parents are actual parents. And so when we were going through our loss with Greg, them being parents were constantly checking on us and sending us words of encouragement, hugging us after tough games, and so they truly felt like family. And so that's why it's hard to say goodbye. A lot of them are still around. The whole team isn't going to leave, but that group in particular, I'll remember for a long time because of, they were with us when Greg was. And so, I think there's a conglomerate of reasons to why this year was so special and these kids were so special. And it was a hell of a year. It was a fun year. We had an absolute blast. We had a blast with each other, with you too. I mean, it's just such a different sport to call than football and basketball. You've got to know the game. It's just the broadcast is a completely different tempo, and it's not for everybody. But it's definitely for you, and it's definitely for Nick and I. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it every single game, man. And I'm already looking forward to next year. My wife would kill me for saying that because I think she's ready to have me home for more than a day a week. But I love it, man. This is what I live for, and I'm really grateful and blessed to have the opportunity to do it. So
I'll say we're looking forward to September 5th, too. We don't want to get too far into the future, and keeping Damon in line and making sure that he has his medicine cabinet in his backpack and has all of his ESPN Plus feeds going and all that stuff. You are the backbone of our football broadcast, which not a lot of people know, along with Josh Hilkeman and the entire crew. So we will see you September 5th in the Greg Sharp radio booth when Ohio comes to town.
That sounds good, man. I'll get plenty of rest for the summer in preparation for what's needed from us from Damon in the fall. So we'll make sure we're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on September 5th.
Sounds good. Ben McLaughlin wrapping up another year as the voice of Husker baseball. What a year it has been for BMAC, for Nick, for the entire radio crew, and for the entire program. Well, come on back. More Sports Nightly right after this.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.
In the mood for a wild ride? Then enter the Nebraska Lottery's Pony Payout promotion. Until July 28th, when you enter non-winning Pony Payout scratch tickets online, you could win a 2026 Ford Mustang GT Fastback. Gallop over to a Nebraska Lottery retailer and play today. Ford Mustang is a trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company is not a sponsor of this promotion. Pony Payout top prize odds 1 in 120,000.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Great stuff with Ben McLaughlin, voice of Husker baseball. Memorable season for Ben, Nick, myself in the radio booth. A lot of fun. Also for Nate Rohr, we'll talk to him in hour number 2 on the softball side of things. Jess had a chance to catch up with him in Oklahoma City. Kyle Crooks and Jessica Coody back here on Sports Nightly and have a chance to kind of get some of the reaction yesterday from the postgame of the Lincoln Regional on the baseball side. Will Bolt, I mean, he's just incredibly happy with how this team responded in some of their earlier conversations this year, and a team that was ultra consistent. But Will Bolt in that post-game press conference, as we get to some of the cuts from yesterday, but he was talking about specifically and how proud he was of this team.
A lot of teams, a lot of players like to pretend that they gave everything they had, and they like to say it. It makes them feel better at the end of the year. It's another thing to go do that and go be about that. And I think that's the biggest compliment you can have as a person, is if somebody tells you that you're about what you say you're about. And that's what these guys have done. And that's what I told them. This last game was like a microcosm of our season. I mean, we get the tying run to the plate, down 10 runs in the middle innings. We defied a lot of odds. I think we overachieved in so many ways, to be honest. And that's not a slight to who we have in the clubhouse or who we have coaching them or anything like that. It's just that's what you want to be on any team, is you want to be a bunch of overachievers, and that's something that we talk about in the very first team meeting of the year. Is let's be overachievers together. And the only way you have that is you got to have these guys. You got to have these guys like that. This is a players program. I want these guys to come in and be themselves and figure out who that is as a young man. Because, if you just, I don't know. I think if you just get told who you're supposed to be or how you're supposed to act and what you're supposed to do, you never really get to find yourself. And these guys, we give them structure, we put them in position, hopefully to succeed, and try to surround them with good young men. And these guys have set the standard. These two guys to my left, and among others as well. But they talked about their faith and the things that they brought culturally to our clubhouse as well. And that's. I can live with that, right? I mean, how these guys perform day in and day out, a lot of things that haven't been done in a long, long time around here. And but nobody can ever say that we didn't fight to the last out.
Yeah, and for those that can't see it, Will had Dylan Carey and Joshua Overbeek to his left. But Jess, I think, while the Huskers almost expected to get to the World Series, I think overachieve, while Will had described it, it's not a negative connotation to this team, but I think truly this baseball team this year kind of did overachieve a little bit in its consistency. It's hard to win games.
Yeah, and just think about the areas that they improved so much from seasons in the past. We talked a lot throughout the season, just how they took care of business on the midweek and man, how they protected home field, and which ultimately set them up to be able to have this opportunity. But, and he talked about it's easier to say that you can be something, but then you got to go out and do it. And this team is certainly an example of that. And, going back to what I had referenced earlier, there are some young players on this team that were a part of this year. And hey, how much fun was it to play in Haymarket in the postseason? I mean, that crowd was unbelievable, that atmosphere. And look, the more you build on that, the better the regional will be with the teams that you are able to bring in here. And so, I think hopefully, again, what was laid this season with those incredible leaders that were sitting right there with him, that can carry over into next year with some of those players that were on this team. Hey, that works. That works because it got us to where we wanted to be, which was hosting a regional.
And one of the leaders of this team, Jess, all year has been Joshua Overbeek, and his time in this program, a huge reason why Nebraska has gotten to this point, but he was at the podium post-game after yesterday's loss. But his thoughts on where this program is at here moving forward.
Yeah, to get the freshman experience and to set the bar this high for those guys who play, like Drew Grigo and Jeter Worthley behind the plate. For them to see this, their first year is so big, to understand what it takes and how to get here and what type of team you have to have, and just to continue to love each other. Because when you're focused on your teammates and not yourself, you put them in the best spot to succeed, and they'll put you in the best spot. And, you know, I'm so excited to see what they can do in the upcoming years of ball. Who knows what this team will look like next year, but they've seen what Haymarket Park can look like in a regional, and that's something that they'll dream about until, you know, next May, next June, and whatever comes forth from there. But just to let those guys get out and see that, and to continue to trust in the Lord and see what he does with them, as so many of them have been blessed with talents and abilities that just, you know, when it's out there, it plays. And so making sure that now, knowing this, they hold the standard over the summer and in the fall when they get back, that, you know, that's the only goal, is to get right back here to host another regional and give yourself a best chance. Because 2 years ago, I sat in the same seat after a regional in Oklahoma State, and now to be hosting and to be in this seat again, we left this program in a better place than we found it, and that's all I can hope that they do as well.
Yeah, I think there's something to the effect that there is a belief now in this program for the younger guys who played a massive role, you know, the Jeter Worthleys and the Drew Grigos, et cetera, that now know that this is a possibility here at Nebraska. When, you know, Coach Bolt always says he wants player-led teams. This team, I think specifically this year, was player-led, and that really helped them towards their success. And final cut here, but Will Bolt just wanted to talk a lot about the fan support, and it was truly elite this weekend in Lincoln. We saw what it was like for softball. Husker Nation showed out in a big way, and here was Will Bolt and his reaction and what he saw over the 3 days.
Yeah, that was a big point of emphasis for these guys. Obviously, over the course of their entire career, was to have a chance to play in the postseason. I wanted them to experience it. I wanted the fans to experience it, because, like I said, it's been 18 long years since it's happened. I've kind of heard from some people some anecdotal stories about when they were young kids, and, you know, just thinking that was going to be the thing forever. And, you know, it's a special year when you get a chance to play at home. And, you know, it stinks that we're not still playing. I mean, I'll be honest, tomorrow's not going to be a very fun day, and it's because I don't get to coach these guys anymore, you know, and that's what stinks. But the fans, thank you for showing up and being supportive. These guys gave you a brand of baseball to be proud of.
Yeah, Willie Bloomquist, who's a longtime major leaguer, is the head coach of Arizona State. He came out in his post game after defeating Nebraska and sort of said to the same effect that this crowd was elite, and certainly was the case on Saturday night as well. You could just sense, even like an hour before first pitch, Jess, I mean, the berms were full. How fun was this spring? I mean, when you think of it, you almost kind of take it for granted when you're in it, right?
Yeah, and, you know, I was going to say to that point, what a great showcase for Nebraska baseball. And when you're talking about, again, selling this program, why do you want to come play here? There's lots of great selling points, but hey, just turn on what you just saw in the regional. I think a lot of times this place is forgotten and how electric it can be, and everybody wants to talk about the SEC atmospheres. But my timeline, because I didn't get to experience it, obviously, you know, live in person, but my timeline was flooded with people really impressed with the atmosphere they got to see and experience, you know, in Haymarket Park. And so I think that's a big part of selling people to come play for this program is the atmosphere that you're going to get to play in home games. And so I think what a great showcase of Husker Nation and what the atmosphere could be if you choose to be a Husker. And so I love that part of it. Just, again, hopefully you continue to improve your seating so you can stay away from those regionals of death, Kyle, that we talked about.
Yeah, I didn't like that phrasing all week. Turns out it was true. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store. Only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. We wrap up hour number 1. That's next.
Applied Connective Technologies may be an award-winning IT company, but since day one, our passion, commitment, and top priority have always been about people. Hey Lincoln, I'm Ed Knott, President of Applied Connected, helping Nebraska businesses and organizations to operate at their peak potential. We're proud to offer world-class support in the areas of managed IT and cybersecurity, phones, surveillance, door access control, cabling, audio, video, and more. To hear what customers say about working with us or for a free technology consultation, head to appliedconnected.com today.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers. Go Gig Red. Visit allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
Final segment of hour number one here of Sports Nightly. Kyle Crooks here in our studios in North Stadium, Memorial Stadium, and of course Jessica Coody in Oklahoma City. Camden, Jess, was in the booth on Saturday. He was going to buy me some soft serve ice cream as a late birthday gift, but I just wasn't feeling it at that point in time. The stomach was a little too tense because the game was intense. But how about our guy Camden? He was going to buy me ice cream for my birthday.
That's nice. I can't believe, listen, when people are going to buy you gifts, you just have to accept
say yes.
it and choke it down. Once you started, you would have gotten through it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of rude turning down a gift, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you know what? It is, but it's the thought that counts. I certainly didn't turn down those Adidas sweatshirts that were given to me as well for my birthday that you were a huge part of. Our guy Al Recker as well, a huge part of Get Me. I've been sporting those cutoff sweatshirts, kind of my look now, the Bill Belichick look.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've been talking about it since you got here, so now you got one for every day of the week, so you should be good to go. Hey, I got one more present coming your way too, so I just couldn't give it to you before I left. So stay tuned for that.
It's not a pink slip, right? You're not firing me. I'm still here. I still get my job.
No, I think we'll maybe give you the summer and see if we'll keep you around for another day.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, we're coming up on my anniversary from when I started. This is your anniversary.
Mine too.
Coming up as well.
Actually, Mine's first. Mine's June 6th.
Who cares? Mine's June 23rd, by the way, for those keeping track out there. All right, hour number one coming to a close. A lot to do. We're going to talk more baseball, of course, softball. Nate Rohr in segment 2. We'll hear from Rhonda Revelle and Jordy Fromm. That's all coming up here on the show. Stick with us.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.
Hey, everybody. I'm Christopher Sullivan Diaz, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the experienced advisors at Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Nebraska's Rudy Sautron captured NCAA Division I paying all-region honors for the second straight season from the Golf Coaches Association of America, when the organization announced its annual award winners over the weekend. Nebraska saw its season end with an 11-8 loss to Arizona State in an elimination game on Sunday afternoon at Hawks Field at Haymarket Park. The Huskers conclude their 2026 campaign with a 43-17 overall record and the 20th regional appearance in program history. The 43 wins are the most since the Big Red went 57-15 in 2005. The Nebraska track and field team racked up 19 qualifiers for the NCAA championships at the Western Regional Qualifiers over the past 4 days. Finally, a little baseball for you. The Chicago White Sox are playing the Twins tonight, and they're better than the Cubs this year with 32 wins so far this season. And Georgia Tech in a huge upset against Oklahoma in an 8-7 game, eliminating the second overall seed. Our sports ticker is brought to you by Stonebridge Wealth Systems, navigating you to and through the retirement of your dreams. Local advisors, discipline process, retirement compass. Visit StonebridgeIWM.com. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next right here on the Akrs Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The payoff pitch ripped into left field, down for a single. Franke's going to be waved home. The throw is in time. Oh, what a seed by Jet Buck. Big-time defensive play for the senior transfer.
2 balls, 2 strikes on DC. Pitch.
Swing and a drive to deep left field. Taylor back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. Dylan Carey to the rescue. Arkansas 3-2, bottom of the 8th, 1 out. Batter is Hannah Kaur in the first pitch. Kaur swings and drives this one to center and deep, and it is gone! It's gone! And this game is tied at 3! Infield to the right as well. Heron to the line, her 1-ball pitch. Ava swings and drives this one to center. Johnson going back! It's gone! It's gone! Huskers win! Huskers win! Huskers win! Huskers win 5-3 on the Kuzak 2-run home run!
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Kyle Crooks on the Huskers Radio Network.
Yes, welcome in hour number 2 here of Sports Nightly on June 1st, 2026. It's crazy. This athletic year has flown by. Kyle Crooks and Jessica Coody talked a lot of baseball in that opening hour. Huge thanks to Ben McLaughlin for joining us in that opening hour. Another year for him behind the mic of Husker baseball. And coming up in this hour, we have Nate Rohr, the voice of Huskers softball, his thoughts on the season. Also, Lauren Camenzind, a huge part for Nebraska's run to the Women's College World Series. One person we also have, and we usually always have, that's Jessica Coody. You're still down in Oklahoma. She's back at her, that's your childhood house, is it not?
It's not, no.
Okay, well,
it's my grandparents. It was my
miss.
grandparents' house, but my parents now own it. So I'm in the study. So it
You're
was
in
the
the
best
study?
backdrop I could find.
I wish I had a house that had a study. I'm not even quite sure what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have a study either.
Well, you spent.
It makes you think of Clue. You know, like
yeah, I like the little
Colonel
flower.
Mustard with the knife in the study.
Yeah, it sounds like
Did you play Clue?
What do you think? I played
No,
Monopoly
probably
once, and I gave up all sorts of games. I don't play games. I play life. You know, that's the title of my book.
You play radio. That's all you play.
I play radio. I play play-by-play radio. I'm a very simple man. But one thing that you have done and told the story of all year long, that is, you see that transition? It's Husker softball, and great job with the coverage throughout the stay there. And, of course, Rhonda and Jordy, huge part of this program, and, you know, they had the opportunity to talk post-game and talk about this season. But let's start here, Jess, before we get into their thoughts. Just your overall thoughts on this team and, you know, the comeback against Arkansas, the tough loss against Alabama yesterday probably. I mean, that was a real gut punch because you had command of that game. Jordy had a no-hitter through 5 1/3, and things happen in this sport. You need to play well, but you also need kind of a little bit of a luck to win a national championship.
Yeah, I think Alabama is a great team. I know they come in as a favorite, but I think what was disappointing about that one is you didn't play your best and you kind of beat yourself a little bit. Then they got tight and they couldn't ever get back out of it. And so I think that's where you get a little bit disappointed in that loss, but then you come back and it just was a spectacular display of pitching. And Jordy got to do something she's never done on this stage, and that's hit a home run, which put her in the 2020 club that nobody has done in multiple seasons. And so she does it in back-to-back seasons. And, I'm sure it was really cool for her parents to get the home run ball. We got to see that. And so, I think it was just what a start. And so you had a feeling like, oh, this is the day they're going to bounce back big time. And, I'd heard they had an incredible batting practice, but then unfortunately they just couldn't get any other run support other than that one home run. And we knew they were going to need more. We were talking up in the booth that this 1-0 is probably not going to hold. But it did for a really long time up until the 6th. And, I think they can walk away knowing that they, other than the bats maybe not getting going, but hey, credit Tegan Cavan. She's a reigning national champion pitcher. She won it last year for Texas. And once she, after she gave up the home run to Jordy, she got it going, and they just struggled to get any other run support. And Jordy tried to do it and almost got through it with a no hitter, but unfortunately just gave up that home run in the 6th. And so it's just a little bit, I think, maybe wind out of the sails after that happens, because it's just such an incredible performance by Jordy. But again, you tip your cap a little bit to Tegan Cavan and the performance that she had as well. And, I think they certainly can go out of it knowing that they played up to their standard more so than they did the day before against Alabama.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Jordy Fromm, focal point, of course, in the post game, and she was a little bit emotional. You could hear it in Rhonda's voice as well. But let's hear from Jordy and her thoughts, the entire journey of her career that brings her back to her home state.
I would just say the whole journey has been, not what I expected, obviously, starting out at OU and then transferring back home to Nebraska and getting hurt and all of that. But one thing that we talked about in the locker room, somebody said, Jordy, thank you for coming home and changing this program. And I said, I didn't come home and change this program. No one person can do that. It was the girls who were already here that absolutely bought into what this program could do. It was all of the transfers that we had coming in with the goal of knowing what this program could do. And it was everybody the last 3 years putting in their work to make this team what it was this year. And so, God's fingerprints were all over this team. It was all over my story, all over my career. And I do truly believe that the way today ended is a part of that story as well. And the fruits that will come from it later on, are things that will be revealed down the road. It really hurts right now, but just so thankful for the journey and to finish it here with this team.
One of the best we've ever seen play this game, and the two-way player and everything that she does. She has her fingerprints on every single aspect of this game and is excellent at it. And, you heard it right there. People basically this whole postseason, this whole season has wanted, they wanted to make it about Jordy. And I understand that, but she has always wanted to make it about her team. And so, she pointed that out. And Kyle, it was crazy if you watch it on TV, and you probably can see all the shots of Jordy, but there was a camera in her face the entire time. Mm-hmm. And I think she's had a lot of pressure, she's handled it so well, but you have to think there's been a lot on her shoulders throughout her entire career, the expectations and, the constant camera in your face and having to go to all these press conferences and having to do every single interview. And I think what's most important to her is, showcasing her teammates and being a good teammate as well. And so that's a lot of times left out on all the list of things that she does, but being an excellent leader and an excellent teammate, as she is quick to point out, look, it's not just me that came back and put this program back on the map. It took a lot of other people that agreed to come on board with me.
Yeah, that first domino falling, though, of her coming back certainly was massive and had a huge effect on where the team ended up. And let's hear from Rhonda and her thoughts on Jordy's impact on the sport as a whole.
I think, honestly, it's too early to say that. Jordy is the most humble person I know. But she's correct in what she said about it's taken everyone. However, her, just her person, it's big. And it's big not because she's trying to make it big. It's big because everything she does, she's trying to do it to the very best of her ability, and she so happens to be very talented too. She's physically talented, she's athletically gifted, but what maybe people don't understand is her emotional intelligence is off the charts, and her ability to feel and read her teammates and know when they need something. That's the stuff that hasn't been talked about enough. And that's what makes her such an impactful leader. And she leads all, the people that are the highest performers to the people that serve in a reserve role. And she leads them all, and she does it really well.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Jordy does everything excellent. And, you know, I'm so fortunate. I feel so fortunate that we were right here to get to witness the last 3 years of it. Obviously, the first year wasn't exactly what she hoped, but it turns out she, you know, as she alludes to, it happened to be one of the best things that could have happened to her. And then she experienced these last 2 years. And, you know, I've been able to stay in contact with Coach Ravel throughout this ride and chatting with her, texting her throughout. And Kyle, it's kind of funny. I was at a really small town cafe in Elk City, Oklahoma, and had my Women's College World Series shirt on. And this lady walked up to me. She goes, "How about that game? Did you see that game between Arkansas and Nebraska?" And she obviously didn't know I worked for Nebraska. I was like, "Yeah, you know, I was there. I worked for Nebraska." And she goes, "I just love the way those girls play, and I absolutely love that coach." And so, you know, I think the you know, not just Jordy, but the way that whole team played together, the way that they loved and supported each other. And then Coach Ravel, how she led that team, I think it was certainly on display. And like we kind of talked about earlier, when she is starting to reload and rebuild this program as the transfer portal is about to open next week, which we're going to be following closely because they got to fill some pretty big pieces to go along with this incredibly talented freshman class. But, you know, it's going to be a really great selling point because you could see it on TV. If you followed Nebraska at all throughout this last 3 weeks, you can tell exactly what this team has been about and how much they've loved each other, including and led by Jordy Fromm. And so I think there are certain areas that players are looking for, and if that's one, it's going to be a huge selling point that people got to see, and it stood out to people watching the Women's College World Series this week.
Yeah, no reason the momentum of this program stalls here either. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with a home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Voice of Husker softball Nate Rohr joins Jess next.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
In the mood for a wild ride? Then enter the Nebraska Lottery's Pony Payout promotion. Until July 28th, when you enter non-winning Pony Payout scratch tickets online, you could win a 2026 Ford Mustang GT Fastback. Gallop over to a Nebraska Lottery retailer and play today. Ford Mustang is a trademark owned and licensed by Ford Motor Company. Ford Motor Company is not a sponsor of this promotion. Pony Payout top prize odds 1 in 120,000.
And now, introducing the starting lineup of your Nebraska Huskers. Starring Allo Fiber. At number 1, Allo Internet. At number 2, no satellite dish required. DirecTV through Allo. And at number 3, Allo Mobile. Allo Fiber, the official internet, TV, and mobile partner of Husker Nation. Level up your game and go to allofiber.com/Husker Radio.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Talking a lot of baseball and, of course, a lot of softball as both seasons wrap up. Kyle Crooks and Jessica Coody. Jess, you had an opportunity after the game yesterday to chat to our guy, Nate Rohr, had a really busy last couple of days on social media.
Yeah, I got to sit in the booth basically, well, the entire Women's College World Series that the Huskers were there. Felt a little deja vu with Kent in Oklahoma City. Nate was quite the popular guy up there in the radio booth, but I was able to video his epic call of the walk-off, and he went viral a little bit like Kent did, but I should have tagged copyright credit so that if somebody else uses it, that I get the credit for it. I did that on the Baker Mayfield dancing video, and I still get people following me when that video resurfaces. So I wish I would have done that for both Kent and Nate, but whatever. I'm helping the team out, But yeah, I got a chance to chat with him, again, all weekend long, sitting in there in the booth. We chatted in between the commercial breaks. But yesterday, after the season concluded, I did get a chance to kind of dive into everything a little bit more.
Well, Nate, we're sitting here talking about how bittersweet this feeling is, because it's so hard to win a national title. It's not like you're disappointed in the way that they played. You're just disappointed that this magical season couldn't continue.
Yeah, it's a shame we're not going to get to see this team play again. I mean, they showed time and again that they belong in that upper crust of college softball. Jordy Fromm for 5 1/3 innings of this game was as sharp as could be. And just that dominance and that will is something different and something that's a real privilege to see. And you go up and down this lineup and how strong the whole thing is. It's really, it hurts that we're not going to get to see him again. Rhonda Revelle told me before this game, I want them to play loose and I want them to play free and I want them to play their game. I think they achieved that today. I know they lost 3-1, and that's certainly disappointing, and maybe the offense wasn't as consistent as you would like, but you feel like Texas beat Nebraska. You don't feel like Nebraska handed the game to Texas, so that softens the blow a little bit. I mean, it's disappointing now, but this season's going to live forever. I think a lot of people learned how much they love softball, how enjoyable it is to watch this sport. Yes, it helps when you win a lot, as this team did, but I think people were introduced to softball, and and found out it's a pretty good sport to watch. And so hopefully, even though you lose a very big, very talented senior class, those folks come back next year and realize this is still a really good program.
You talked about Jordy Fromm, and I mean, gosh, so many layers to the story with her, but just today in particular, she became the first player ever to have back-to-back seasons, multiple seasons with 20 wins in the circle and 20 home runs. And you think about all the things that she's accomplished right here on this stage. First home run ever, you know? And so, I don't know, it's just hard to even describe all the things that she's done for this sport, for this program, but I don't know if we've ever seen anybody like her, if we'll ever see anybody like her again.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see that combination of high achievement as a pitcher and high achievement as a hitter. We've seen people do one or the other at a really high level, and then they just kind of do the other thing. And they might be good at it, but not greatness, not, driving the whole thing. And especially in a power conference school, some of it's opportunity. It was that situation at Oklahoma where they said, look, you're too valuable to us as a pitcher that we don't want you to get hurt as a hitter. But Nebraska gave her that opportunity, and of course she took full advantage of it, and I think just showed what a softball player is capable of, and where her game was so complete. Could run, could catch, could throw. I think could play any of the 7 traditional positions. And then as an offensive player, she had both power and speed. It was a real treat to get to express the whole part of her game and not just, hey, I'm a good pitcher.
I know this team fully believed they could win a national title, and Jordy wanted to come back and help this program do that. But I think throughout this season, we've learned that, yes, they are a very good group, but I think they can walk away from this stage with their head held high because it's been about more than just winning for this team.
I would think so. They have raised the profile of softball in the state of Nebraska. I think they've shown a lot of kids that, look, hey, volleyball has proven to be a viable path for a lot of female athletes in the state of Nebraska. But softball can be that too. And if your talents and your interest veers more towards softball, it's okay to pursue that too. And you can make yourself into a Division I player. And Nebraska's run to the Women's College World Series shows that even the highest levels of team success are possible. Whereas somebody would say, well, if you want to win a national championship, you have to play volleyball. Yeah, your odds are probably better there, but you can go to the Women's College World Series at Nebraska. And the fact that it was a Nebraska native-driven team, I think goes to show that you can, one, become a power conference level softball player from Nebraska, and two, if you all stay home or come back home, you can amass your talents and do some really great things.
Yeah, I think that's what's special. I've been asked so much about the storylines of this group, but to me, I just go back to that group that decided to come back, all come back, and they were little girls looking up to players that were playing on the Husker teams. We've heard the stories of that, and now you see them signing all those autographs, and it's just kind of a full circle moment. Now you hope that it comes full circle again just by the foundation that they laid once again. No
doubt about it. And I mean, that's been the self-perpetuating cycle of Nebraska volleyball, as we have seen, as the old generation inspired people like Danny Busboom, now Danny Busboom Kelly, Jordan Larson, the Rolfson twins, on and on and on. And now you hope somebody looks at Jordy Fromm and says, I can do that. Or they look at Casey Hoffman or the Camenzinds or whomever. And so you hope little girls whose skill sets veer more towards softball than volleyball can find their own athletic path where they can really do great things. I think they can.
You've also talked a lot about the story of this program and Coach Ravel, but how happy are you for her that she was able to have this kind of season?
No question. I'm thrilled for her. I know the type of person she is. I knew even as the investigation was going on that this was somebody that it would hurt the Nebraska Athletic Department to lose. And had that gone a different way, and it's not difficult to imagine a scenario where that's the end for her. And I think the program would have been thrown into a level of disarray that would have made something like this like walking on the moon. She tweaked how she goes about things. She built the culture a little stronger, and that made it all the more strong foundation for Jordy Fromm and this class to come back and really take this program to the Women's College World Series. And so you're hopeful that it can continue to add layers and add floors to the skyscraper, because the rebuild on this program is very notable.
We've asked you along the way just about, can you say that this senior class is the best in program history? Can you say this team is the best in program history? Now that this season's over, are you prepared to put that statement on this group?
Senior class, yes. I know they're the best team in Rhonda Revell's tenure, which is 34 years. It's just so tough to measure those 80s teams that went to the Women's College World Series. You had the 85 team that was a national runner-up. But especially in this environment of college softball, where Nebraska is at a disadvantage because of its conference, where there are so many schools trying at softball, I sure wouldn't argue with you if you said this was the best team in program history. There are other claimants on it, but I feel like this would be the best.
Do you feel like, again, just seeing this team, the joy that they play with, just the camaraderie, the chemistry, like you said, the foundation, and then just getting here on this stage? Because, look, let's make no bones about it. I think it's out there that the SEC, even Texas Tech that's here, the money that's poured into those programs might not be as similar as what we see in the Big Ten. Do you feel like you could take a lot away for this program moving forward just on what we saw from this season?
Well, I sure hope so. I sure hope the other athletic directors look around, and we're talking about mainland Big Ten here, because, look, UCLA's in this conference, and they try at softball. Oregon is in this conference. They try at softball. Washington's in this conference. They try, and all those succeed. And there are a couple of programs here in the Big Ten that at least put forth some effort. Michigan, Northwestern, I think to a lesser extent Indiana and Purdue. But, it's a challenge for the rest of the traditional Big Ten schools to say, look, you can do this. There are great players. I mean, Tegan Cavan just beat Nebraska. Where is Tegan Cavan from? Des Moines. And you see all these Iowa kids playing elsewhere. You see Wisconsin kids playing elsewhere. And so if these schools would work a little harder to keep the talent in the state, they could have great programs too. And I think that's the big message that a Minnesota or an Iowa or in Illinois can take from Nebraska is, look, if we have a program that's worth kids staying home for, we can compete.
And what about just, players in the portal or recruitment from high school? I know they're excited about this freshman class coming in, but do you feel like when you might not match up in terms of what you can pay kids, that it will, maybe inspire some kids to come play here at Nebraska?
Well, you're going to play in front of 3,000 fans for your conference games. That helps. Yeah. Bowlin Stadium is, 25 years later, is still a cathedral of college softball. I know they're upgrading the clubhouse this summer, and that'll help too. But, this fan base is the great selling point. And, if you want to pull it down to dollars and cents, the fact of the matter is that as a female athlete, you have the best chance at endorsements at Nebraska compared to anywhere else in the country, and especially with the visibility that softball has gotten. I think you can do the math on it and go, okay, there are 3,500 people in the building. Surely somebody owns a car dealership or a bank and would like me to do their advertising. And so I think other players looking from other programs have to look at Nebraska and go, geez, that would be one great place to play. In addition to Rhonda Revell's a Hall of Fame coach and a better person. Lori Sippel's a phenomenal coach and person. Diane Miller, Olivia Farrell, on down the list.
So on that note, look, the portal's open. We're seeing left and right players announcing their decision to leave school. So it's back. It's back to work. No rest for the weary for this coaching staff, as they got to replace a huge senior class and a lot of contributors to this roster and to this team. So what do you feel like is the target for this coaching staff? What do they have to do to kind of reload and be able to compete for being here again next year?
I think you got it. Pitching. It's very simple. I mean, this game's predicated still even as offense explodes, it's still predicated on pitching. And while I think Alexis Jensen will be ready to step into an ace role and step into being the dominant pitcher for this team, the fact of the matter is we know now in college softball you need at least 2 and probably 3. And so you need at least one more pitcher that you would feel good about running out there on a Saturday against UCLA or Northwestern or Michigan. And then you work up the middle. You think about shortstop. You've got to replace Ava Kuzak. You've got to know how you're going to replace her. And you think about Hannah Core and the athleticism in the outfield. And I thought that was a real X factor. She got to a lot of balls that I don't think we got to last year. Great arm, and also a very good hitter. So you need somebody that you can plug and play in center field. Teams are built up the middle, and especially when you lose your ace pitcher, your shortstop, and your center fielder, you got to replace them. So that's my priority list.
And look, tampering's a thing in every sport, and you got players that probably made a name for themselves that are probably getting hit up by a lot of schools right now. Oh, no question. And I hope as they watched Nebraska play this weekend, even though the games didn't go their way, they saw the joy, they saw the excitement, they saw how Rhonda Revelle and the staff operates. They saw all the fans. They said, you know what, I want to be a part of that. That could be a lot of fun. I think Nebraska sold itself well this last week. And oh, by the way, it's not like they got run off the field. They lost 2 good programs and had a 6th inning lead here. So it's not like they look at it and they go, oh, Nebraska didn't belong on the field. They're a College World Series program. And I'm saying like a Sammy Bland or, some of those players that are coming back that made, a good statement here this weekend that, hey, there's some good players that can play just about anywhere in the country. And you got to, retain those players too, just like every single team at Nebraska.
I'll be really disappointed if I don't see Sammy Bland in a Nebraska jersey next year. And unfortunately, this is the realm we are in college athletics, in that you have to re-recruit your team every year. But, Sammy, and remember, she was sick at the beginning of the year. She had that shoulder injury sustained in February in Florida. And yet she ends up hitting over 300 with some power, but played phenomenal defense over at third base, had a good NCAA tournament. She's a cornerstone type piece that you can build around. And hopefully one of you fine business owners out there, Sammy Bland can do some TV spots for you. She'll do a good job. We tried to pay the players at the Huskers Radio Network, and you know how that came out.
Okay, but that being said, though, you think about it, Sammy Bland, a Jesse Farrell, Alexis Jensen, you've got a really good core and some players that couldn't really contribute because you got a good senior class that you feel like you got a good group coming back, and then you have to attack the portal. Oh, yeah. I mean, there are pieces to build with. Is there a Jordy Fromm? No. But, nobody has a Jordy Fromm. No, nobody has a Jordy Fromm. Exactly. But you've got Alexis Jensen, who's an All-American level pitcher. Jesse Farrell had a big bat all year. You feel like there are pieces here that you can work with. You need to keep adding, but everybody does. So I while they're going to take a little step back because this is a giant senior class, at the same time you feel like you've got. It's not like you're starting totally at zero. You do have some top-notch players to work with. Oh, I just got to sit up here and listen to your sign-off for the last time. But for you, what was the season like, and how special was it for you to get to be on the mic for this one? Joyride. Just a joyride. I mean, this team was so good, so consistent. The fact that they dominated the Big Ten the way they did. There was a time in my life where I wouldn't have believed Nebraska softball could beat UCLA. And they beat them 3 out of 4, and they were within a run of 4 of 4. They swept Michigan. The fact that that's not a headline on this season is just crazy. And Nebraska traded blows with the top teams in college softball. And this program asserted itself as one that can play at the highest level. And though they didn't get it done today, and they weren't able to win more than one game here in Oklahoma City, they still got a lot done. They showed a lot of progress. And it also showed, how much latent passion there is
in this state. And I always wondered, what would it be like if Nebraska made a run? It was sort of the men's basketball thing, right? You know, what would it be like if we were a national contender? Well, we were, and it was incredible. The stands were jam-packed at Bowlin. The place was energized. Seeing people here, seeing people at the Big Ten tournament. People are following this program, and I think sort of the hypothesis that I had in the back of my head that, hey, this team gets winning, people will buy in quickly. It happened, and so it made it really special. And just, I got to watch greatness for 60 games. That's pretty special. I'll look back on Husker history. You know, Jordy Fromm is going to be a Nebraska Athletics Hall of Famer. I can tell you that right now.
She'll probably be in this class.
Hey, she might be. She might be. And I'll be able to look back on her the way people might look at a Lori Sipple or a Peaches James or, other sports, Larson and all the volleyball people. So it's really special, and it was wonderful to see Nebraska dominate and rule the way they did this year.
You and the fam got a vacation plan coming up now?
No, I'm sure at some point we'll leave the house with gas prices the way they are. We'll see. But a little family time, a little catch with Bobby and the girls, and we'll go from there.
Before you know it, it'll be football time again.
You're telling me. And the earlier and earlier practice opens and all of that. So, yeah, we'll get our breath back in June and July, and by late July, we'll be standing there post-practice.
Well, it's been a great season for this program. It's been a great season for you behind the mic. It's been a pleasure to listen to you. And, hey, thanks for putting up with me, asking you to do all this stuff for social media and for Sports Nightly as well. I'm just glad I haven't broke your camera yet with all the video of my face, but happy to do it. Thank you for coming on for the ride, and let's do it again next year. The odds might be against us, but let's go. I'm ready for it. Let's do it again.
Great stuff with Jess and Nate. Again, Nate, great job. Another year of him on the mic of Husker softball, and this was probably one of the most memorable seasons for Nate on the call. Great job with him all season long here on the Huskers Radio Network. One of the big parts of this team, and somebody who had a chance to play her old team during the World Series, and the one victory they had was Lauren Camenzind. Jessica Coody had a chance to catch up with her, and we'll give you that conversation coming up after the break.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Noddle Companies proudly supports the Huskers Radio Network. As a full-service leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Noddle Hospitality's latest venture in Aksarben Village, and the contemporary living of row house townhomes on Leavenworth. We're welcoming world-class concepts from men's fashion and great eats to gorgeous homes and green spaces, all professionally managed by Noddle Services. These are the Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles, or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
The work is dirty and sometimes dangerous. It's the kind that can break your body, and if you let it, your spirit. But while there may be better ways to make a living, you won't convince me there's a better way to live. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board. For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Softball heavy second hour here on Sports Nightly as we continue to recap the season for both spring sports, baseball and softball. And Kyle Crooks, Jessica Coody. Jess, you had a chance to chat with Lauren Camenzind after the game yesterday, and just what a great person. Of course, twin sister on the team as well. Hannah, a huge part of the team, but Lauren, what a great season for her.
Yeah, and so I was walking out of the stadium, and I was going to leave them alone, all the players, and not do any interviews because I knew it was probably going to be emotional. But I walk out after talking with Nate, and the players are down there with a mob of little girls signing autographs. And it just was, I guess such a perfect picture of what this team is. No matter what, they're going to give their time and make sure that they are, spending their time with that younger generation and signing every autograph that is asked of them. And so she was standing there, and I just asked her, and again, she's just such a great person. And so got a chance to chat with her. She's obviously very emotional, but more than anything, very, very grateful to be able to wear the Husker uniform.
All right, here with Lauren Camenzind. Well, I guess, what are the emotions right now?
Sad that it's over. I mean, this group was a group that I've never been nothing like a part of. And so I think more just sad that, this is my last time with them more than anything else.
When you guys made the decision to come back and all come together, I mean, you got here, you got to where you dream of being. So how special is it that when you all decided to come back together and come back to Nebraska, you got this program back here?
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about a lot. It's when all of us came back, I mean, we couldn't have jumped it up 10 any better. And I think just so thankful that this group's last time together was here, and it was where we all dreamed of being. And just to have this group in it and here, I mean, there's really no words to describe it.
You guys along the way were so focused on the next and just kept, turning the page. But now that it's over, I mean, how do you reflect upon what you guys were able to accomplish this season?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit in the post-game huddle, but it's just right now we're just taking the time just to be thankful for each other and thankful that we had this group and just appreciate the memories and all the fun that we had together and before we move on to the next. And I think that's all we can do right now is just love on each other as much as we can.
How would you describe this group? What made you guys so special to be able to, again, come together like this?
I think that outside of being softball players, we were so lucky we had so many kids who were good at softball. But I think what made us be this good was that we loved each other and we had fun together. And we did that better than any group I think that there is, that no matter what was thrown at us and no matter what we were a part of, that we loved each other hard and we fought for each other hard.
And look at all these fans. You guys were out here signing autographs with all these little girls. What does that mean to you to have so many young ones look up to you? And why does that continue to be important for you guys, even though you're heartbroken right now?
Yeah, I think for us, a lot of us, that's what made us fall in love with this program, is we were those little girls who came to camp and sat in the stands and they took the time to sign our autographs when their hearts are broken. And so it's just, if we can be that next person to make this program even better, that's what we're going to do.
You guys laid such a foundation. I mean, the program's been what it's been, but you guys continue to build and lay such an incredible foundation. How much do you believe that the program can continue to go even to further heights?
Oh, I believe in them so much. I mean, the younger kids have just been so great, and no matter what their role has been, they've just been so eager to help out any way they can, whether it's picking a pitch, whether it's seeing if the runner left early, like whatever way they've wanted to help, they've made sure that they've been great at doing that.
I've talked to you guys a lot about just this coaching staff, but how about, them and what has it meant to you to get to play for Coach Ravel, Coach Sipple, Coach Miller, and just to be able to bring them here?
Yeah, I mean, they've been a staff that I've known since I was 8 years old. So I think for us, it's just, I'm so thankful for this full circle moment and just how much they've believed in this group and they've allowed us to be ourselves. And this is an ending that they deserve too. I mean, just to see how much this program has changed, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
How about just the state of Nebraska, the way they showed up for you guys and to be able to do it for the state?
Yeah, I mean, our fans have been so amazing all year long, and just to see them here, I mean, that Thursday night game here in the Go Big Red cheer, gave us all chills. We were like, no matter where we're at, they're here, and we wouldn't have had the season we've had without them either.
Last thing, I guess, what has it meant for you to wear this uniform?
Oh, everything. I mean, oh gosh. This place is everything to me, and I think these last 2 years, I couldn't have dreamt it up any better, and I'm just so lucky to end my career with Nebraska across my chest.
You're going to make me cry too now, but you're sticking around. I know a lot of you guys are going to get to stick around. I mean, how important is that for you that now you're going to get to turn right back around and still be a part of this?
Yeah, we're so excited just to be there for the little kids and not the little kids, the younger kids, but just to be there and help them every step of the way. They're a talented group, and I know the freshman class coming in is so talented too, and I just can't wait to see them pick up where we left off.
We're excited to hopefully have you work with us some too, so we're looking forward to have you around, but I know you'll get to take some time to take this all in, but congratulations. It's been just a pleasure to cover your career, and I'm glad we're not getting rid of you just yet.
Yes, thank you. Go Big Red always.
Oh, Jess, you got me all emotional. That was a really good conversation with Lauren. A lot of fun catching up with them, though. You mentioned the amount of autograph seekers, though. It's pretty incredible. I saw some of the pictures. Your tweet that you put out, or X-post, whatever you want to call it, Jordy signing a million different softballs. It's important, the old cliched phrase, growing the game, and win or lose, you want to be able to sign those autographs and take pictures.
Yeah, and they've done that every game, and win or lose. And I know they won a lot of games, but that it just shows that they're the same people, win or lose, because of what I saw yesterday. And Alexis Jensen, boy, every single home game I was at, she stood out there forever, signing every autograph as well. And so when you talk about this team and being fueled by those Nebraska kids, I think, we've all established that and talked about that a lot throughout the season, the importance of establishing and bringing in that Nebraska talent, keeping that in state, especially for, Nebraska softball. And, because with all of the SEC teams and maybe what they're getting out of the rev share and the NIL, they put a lot of money in their ball bat sports, but there's nothing like pride and wanting to play for the team that you grew up rooting for and the players that you had aspired to be. That's hard to beat, and no matter what dollar figure is thrown at you. And so I think this team has certainly done that, and I know that they will continue to do it. They did it before, and this team continued to do that, and with a lot of superstars, I think they'll continue to do that moving forward.
Yeah, no doubt. Great stuff from you throughout the entire stay, the Women's College World Series, on our social accounts. Anything that you missed, any interviews, you can certainly look them up on our Huskers Radio Network social accounts. The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, where it's mower season. Get 0% financing, professional setup, and local support you can't get at the big box store, only at Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer. We wrap up this Monday night show here to start the month of June. Coming up.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
Life
life is busy. Wouldn't it be great if someone could help you manage your insurance?
Well, I do have a lot to keep on top of. Between the house, my life insurance, the car. Like you said, life is busy.
A local Trusted Choice independent insurance agent can help you with your research, coverage selection, pricing, and claims at no extra cost to you.
Which means I'll have more time to spend on other things.
Trusted Choice independent insurance agents. We'll help do your insurance. You just do you.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
From the chant of Husker Power to Allo Fiber powering your home and Husker Nation, Allo is the teammate you can trust. Whether you're streaming at home with Allo Internet, watching on the go with DirecTV through Allo, or checking stats and scores on Allo Mobile, Allo keeps you in the game. With Allo plus DirecTV plus Allo Mobile, you get the ultimate teamwork. Internet you can count on, TV you can stream anytime, anywhere, and nationwide coverage you can depend on. Bench the other guys and team up with the official Internet, TV, and mobile partner of the Huskers.
Great show tonight. Final segment. Huge thanks to Ben McLaughlin, Nate Rohr, Lauren Camenzind. I had a chance to hear from Will Bolt, Joshua Overbeek, as well as Rhonda Revelle and Jordy Fromm. So a lot of recapping on what was, but what still is track and field. We hope to have head coach Justin St. Clair on the show here coming up soon. 19 just national qualifiers for track and field. So there's a lot of hardware that could be won here still coming up.
Yeah, and over the weekend, I was kind of following it on X, the track and field account, and man, it just seemed like every other hour somebody was punching their ticket to nationals. They had to go through regionals this weekend to earn their spot at nationals. So yeah, not quite done yet. I know a lot of people think that's the end of the season with softball and baseball, but hey, there's a lot to still be pursued with this track and field team. Justin St. Clair has maintained when he took over as the head coach that they're not pursuing just Big Ten titles. They want to go after the national titles as well. And you have to have a number of those athletes individually qualify for that to be able to accumulate the amount of points that it takes to stand on the podium as a team. And so they certainly got a large number of athletes qualified and a lot of athletes that will be competing for individual national titles. Axelina Johansson, one of the most decorated female athletes in Husker program history. So, she'll be competing as well. And, lots of names that could be standing on podiums here coming up in the next week. And so, yeah, not done quite just yet.
No, June 10th through June 13th. That's the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. It's all the way out in Eugene, Oregon. Well, Jess, great stuff. Enjoy Oklahoma. You'll be there throughout the week. Enjoy some family. We appreciate you hopping on with us, as always.
Yeah, so we'll should mention we'll be hearing from a couple of those athletes here coming up over the next week. I got a chance to chat with the new head women's gymnastics coach as well. So while baseball and softball are done, we've got a fun week. You're going to chat with the head basketball coach, Fred Hoiberg, as well.
Yeah, Fred Hoiberg will join us as well. And great show tonight. Great shows coming up. Appreciate you joining us.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For more than 50 years, Woodhouse has been proud to serve our communities. We're more than a dealership. We're your neighbor, your partner, and your trusted name in automotive. Generations of drivers have counted on Woodhouse for honesty, transparency, and a hassle-free experience. Every deal starts at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Then we apply discounts and rebates to get you to your true price. No gimmicks, no surprises. Shop local, shop trusted at woodhouse.com. Hassle-free all the way to your driveway. That's Woodhouse.
It's not a job. I don't start my day by logging in or end my shift by punching out. I don't have a corner office, but I do have a seat with a view. I get to see every sunrise and every sunset. And while I may technically be my own boss, I fully accept that I am not in charge. I'm a Nebraska corn farmer, and there's nothing else I would rather be.
Brought to you by the Nebraska Corn Board.
The color red means something to us. It means tough, ready, and powerful. It means our standards are high, and we expect the highest level of performance on and in the field. So while the Huskers are getting it done on the football field, you can count on Massey Ferguson tractors to get it done in your field. With its seamless CVT transmission and efficient AGCO-powered engine, you'll keep charging down the field all season long. Check out the full line of Massey Ferguson equipment at Osceola Implement in Osceola and True Ag and Turf in Falls City, Columbus, and Osmond.
We're here for those who build America. Those who believe that giving everything we've got today will pay off tomorrow. Who will drive America forward for 250 years to come. If that's who you are, you value what we value, and you should pay what we pay.